Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Counter It. Today we will go over on how to counter Galactic Legend Rey with Darth Vader. Before going into the specifics of the counter, let's see why it works and why we're using this. Rey lead gives damage immunity to light side allies when they fall below 50% health, so you preferably need to kill the enemies before they fall below 50% health. That's why you use Vader, because his Culling Blade deals a lot of damage. Also, when this damage immunity triggers, Rey will unlock an ability that will deal 300,000 true damage to a target, which will kill anyone that is not a Galactic Legend. That's another good reason to kill the enemies without having them proc damage immunity. And if you let Rey take turns, she will eventually use her ultimate, which will result in a big AoE and a loss of banners. So that's why we are using Throne, because with Fracture you can make her never take any turn. Now in this counter, Wat Tambor is mandatory. With his weapon tech, he will allow Vader to go second. Rey will go first, of course, because she has 500 speed, but with weapon tech, Vader will gain 15% on meter and go next. He also allows Vader to take more turns, thanks again to the weapon mod, and he makes him hit harder, and he applies dots on basic, which also increases Vader's damage. So unfortunately, my advice if you do not have Wat Tambor is to work on your Geonogens and find a guild that is running dark side Geonogen territory battles so that you can unlock Wat and use him. Without him it's really hard to win versus Rey using Vader. Now with that being said, let's move on to the strategy on how to use the counter and how to win. So in this video I will go over two main Rey teams, one with Jedi and one with Resistance allies. Since the version with Jedi is easier to beat, I will start with this one. So in this team we will have Vader lead, Throne, Wat Tambor, and in addition to them we will have Bastila Shan Fallen and Traya. You want to put Vader in lead because it will make dots stick even if they dispel them, and also by having him in lead you gain the bonus potency from Bastila Shan Fallen to make sure that you do land the dots. Vader is very good here because his basic will apply ability block and cannot be resisted by Jedi enemies. And then finally you have Traya, which will be very good to isolate General Kenobi if he's there, or any tank that is there, so that you can still hit who you want to hit. And since her isolate will reduce the cooldowns, it will allow you to get Vader to use his second Merciless Massacre earlier. With this team you can get 60 banners very easily, and it will work even if your Wat Tambor is gear 8 or 9 and your Traya and Bastila Shan Fallen are gear 11 or 12. Now before we move on to the fight, let's talk mods. You absolutely want an offense set on Vader with a crit damage triangle and a split primary arrow. You want him to be fast because he needs to move first, well, just after Rey, so you'll be looking for 110 to 120 bonus speed, and you also want to make sure that he will crit. To do that, you need him at 75% crit chance. So make sure to hit that, because once he gets into Merciless Massacre, he will get 25% bonus crit chance, which will bring him to 100% crit chance, and you will be sure to crit on the Culling Blade, which will be needed to kill Rey. You also need 2 Zetas on him, his Unique and his Merciless Massacre, to really maximize his potential. Then for Throne, you will want protection primaries on him, you don't want him to die, and you want a lot of speed on him, at least plus 110 speed. The higher the better, the earlier you can get the fracture going, the best it is. And it will be also easier to get the second fracture on before Rey moves. Then there's Wat Tambor. For him you want his Zeta, it's absolutely needed, so that Vader gets weapon mod right away. And you want some speed on him, it's not mandatory, so don't worry too much about it. Then for Bastila Shan Fallen, you want her to be fast, because you want her to apply debuffs for more juicy Culling Blades. So I would say that you should aim for at least plus 110 speed. And then Traya, you just want her to be there to isolate someone, so something like plus 80 speed will be largely enough. So let's go over a fight. So I'm starting by giving the weapon tech to Vader, always. Then Rey moves. Vader gets 15% on meter and goes next, even though the Raven here has plus 139 speed, so he's really fast, but still I'm faster. So when you're using Merciless Massacre, always target Rey. because since Vader has weapon mod, he will call what to assist for an extra dot. Okay, well, okay, so she already has 2 dots. Now I'm going to use this, targeting Rey again to get as many dots as I can. And now I will start applying, hopefully, ability block on all the Jedi. So his basic has 80% chance to apply it, and the Jedi cannot evade it. So I got one on GK, that's cool. I got one on GS as well. Let's see if I can get one. I can get one on him, okay. And I also got one on Hamituda, so everyone got ability blocked except for Jedi Knight Raven. So back to Rey, I'm going to apply some more dots on her. And she's at 10 dots already. Okay, now I'm going to give the shield generator to Throne. It doesn't matter really to who you give it, but usually they like to focus him, so it's nice to make him a little tankier. Now I'm going to get extra debuffs, so I could put it on Rey, but she won't get feared, and Revan doesn't have ability block, so I'm going to put it on him instead, so that he will not be able to mark anyone, since he will be missing his turn. Now I'm going to fracture Rey. I do not want her to take a turn. Okay, the focus what? That's cool. Now I'm going to isolate General Kenobi so that it stops taunting, and I'm going to put it on Vader to get him to get Merciless Massacre back up earlier. So as you can see, it's only 1 turn away now. So I'm going to hit Rey, getting her lower so that I can kill her next time. The basic will just apply here, so it doesn't matter who you focus. And now back to the second Merciless Massacre. So again, I focus Rey to get an extra dot on her. I do not have the Force Crush available yet, so I'm going to basic someone else. Now Force Crush is available, but if I target Rey, I will not be able to do the Killing Blade after on her and be sure to crit. So I'm going to focus someone else, let's say Raven. Okay, and now Rey has no protection left, she's missing about 25% health, so it's a good time to kill her. And boom, she's dead. So now it's just going to be cleanup, and I'm going to try to avoid proccing her lead. Well, okay, never mind. Vader hits too hard, but anyway, it doesn't really matter. At this point it's 1, so it's just cleanup time now. I'm going to speed it up. The idea is just to get 60 banners, so try to get everyone back to full health and protection before you end the battle. And that's it for the counters to Rey with Jedi. Now this is obviously not the only team that exists with Rey and Jedi, but the strategy will remain exactly the same no matter what team you fight. As long as you go first and you use this strategy, you will win, and you will almost always get 60 banners, even with lower gear teams than mine. The only high relic guy that you actually need is Vader. You really need him to be relic 7 to hit hard and kill Rey. Now moving on to Rey teams with resistance heroes Finn and Poe. This team is a little harder to beat than the one with Jedi, mostly because it's harder to go first. This is due to the fact that Finn has a base speed of 183 compared to Revan, who is only at 168. And if you do not go first, Finn will swap with Poe, and then Poe will focus Thrawn, and if you are unlucky, Finn will go again and focus Thrawn too, and if your Thrawn dies, you will probably lose the fight. So there are 2 ways to go about this. First one is you have good mods and you go first no matter what, in which case you can keep using the team that I showcased previously. Or you do not have good mods, and in which case you can use Thrawn lead instead. So this will require a specific modding. You will need a crit avoidance or protection primary on the arrow, as well as protection primaries on triangle, cross and circle on Thrawn. But by putting him on lead, you will gain the bonus from Bastila Fallen unique, so that will make him tankier, and he will be able to survive hits from both Finn and Poe. But you will need Thrawn to be gear 13 with at least relic 3, ideally relic 5. This team with Thrawn lead is a little riskier because the dots from Vader will not stay, since he's not leading, so if Rey starts taking turns, she will dispel them and it will be a lot harder to kill her. It's also more likely that she will get an ultimate out. So if you want to get good banners with this team, you will need your team to be full gear 12, 13, ideally full gear 13. I am now going to show you a fight versus Resistance Heroes. As I do not have any good Rey with Resistance Heroes team on my shard, I will be using footage from Tier Azure who allowed me to reuse it in my videos. So he chose to use Darth Malak instead of Darth Treya, but the concept remains the same. So as you can see, his Vader goes first, which is very important here. So he focuses Rey, then he goes on ability blocking everyone. And here there is some RNG that you do not require versus Jedi. Here you can see him ability block on everyone, including Finn, which is very, very important, because if Finn goes and swaps with Poe, then Tron will probably die. But here he got every ability block, and then he also got Shock to land on Holdo. If Shock gets resisted, then you get stuck hitting Holdo, which can also be annoying. And from here, the strategy is basically the same as previously, so there's nothing new to add. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will let you finish watching this fight, and let me know what you would like to see next on my channel. See you next time!